Hello there, you beautiful people, and welcome to this video where you're going to learn about an incredibly important tool that comes pre-packaged with Python, called IDLE. In this lecture, I'm going to introduce you to what IDLE is, and I'll be showing you a few useful things that you can do with it. Be sure to follow along and try things out for maximum learning. But by the end of this lecture, you'll know what IDLE is, how to open it, and how it can help you when programming Python. So what's IDLE? Well, IDLE is basically the program that we're going to be using to write Python code. But more precisely, IDLE is Python's very own interactive developer environment, or IDE. And what's an IDE? Well, that's just a fancy word for a useful text editor that makes it easier to program in a certain programming language. So IDLE's Python's built-in IDE. And what we're going to use IDLE for is to run Python programs and write files known as Python scripts. Now don't worry if you don't know what they are, we're going to see plenty of them as we go through this lecture. But for now, let's just learn how to open IDLE. Alright, so if you're on Windows, just go to the Start menu and type IDLE in the search bar. There'll be a similar way to do this on Mac and Linux, so if you're on either of those, don't worry about it, it's pretty straightforward. Just click on the icon that pops up to open IDLE. If you see a window like this, then congratulations! You've successfully opened IDLE for the very first time. So let's have a quick look around. The most obvious thing that we see on here is this big box with some official looking text at the top. Now this box is what's known as the Python shell. Strange term, shell, but it's likely familiar to people who use Mac and Linux regularly, but it might be unfamiliar to those of you who are using Windows. But for now, just understand that whatever you type here will be interpreted by Python as a command. Along the top, you'll see the sexy IDLE toolbar. Okay, and there's two main options I want to show you at this point. I'm not going to deep dive into everything. First of all, we have the File tab. Now in here, you'll notice you can create new files, you can open files, save files, amongst other things. These files that IDLE is talking about are what are known as Python scripts. We'll be creating one of those in this video, but let's continue to explore IDLE's toolbar for now. So the second thing that I want to show you is under Python's Help tab. You'll notice that under this tab, there is this option here that says Python Docs. Now this documentation is incredibly useful and is also available at https://docs.python.org/3. You can just Google Python documentation, it'll come straight up. Oh, by the way, the reason my text is absolutely massive is because I've made it this big so it's easier for you guys to see on the video. If you want to have it this size or something similar, then what you have to do is just go up to Options, Configure IDLE. This thing will pop up, and I just picked the Lucida Sans, probably saying that all kinds of wrong, but the Lucida Sans type and size 22, and that's why it's so big. So if your text is much smaller, that's because you got the defaults and nothing's broken, don't worry. But that's enough faffing around for now. Let's actually do some programming, shall we? Right, now let's look back at the Python shell, this big thing here with these three arrows. In this shell, we can run what are called Python commands. For example, if I type 1 + 1, you know we're going to start complicated, in this shell and press enter, Python gives me back the number 2. Pretty cool, right? I want you to give that a go. Just pause this video and give it out a try for yourself. Type in the shell 1 + 1 and press enter. Don't worry, I'll wait. Okay, so hopefully you gave that a go and you got similar results. If you did, then congrats, that was your very first line of Python code. Give yourself a pat on the back. They won't always be that easy. So what you just did was an example of a Python command. You have the command of add together 1 and 1, and Python shell interpreted your command and gave you back the answer 2, or returned the answer 2. So that's pretty cool, right? But the issue here is, what if we wanted to do this command over and over again, or we wanted our code to be reusable? It's kind of a pain to do that at the moment, right? I mean, like, if I wanted to use this, I'd have to go up here, copy it, and then maybe paste it on here and press enter again. I know it's only 1 + 1, but you get the idea. Well, to make our code reusable, we use Python scripts. Python scripts are files that we can store commands in. And scripts are just like scripts in real life, right, that actors use. You read them from top to bottom, and you can read them over and over again. They can also be copied, pasted, and moved around, and even shared with your friends. In fact, it's possible with scripts for someone on the other side of the world to get a copy of your code and be able to run it and get exactly the same result. Talk about high tech. So let's go ahead and create a Python script. To do this, we go up to Python's sexy toolbar, and we press File up here, and then you can see this thing that says new file. There's a keyboard shortcut of Control and N for those of you who would like extra speed, but I'm just going to do it this way. And what you'll see is you get this window pop up. It's different to the shell, but anyway, this is the editor that you use to write your scripts in. At the minute, you can see it doesn't have a name, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to save it by going File and Save, or Control and S for a keyboard shortcut. So you press Save. Now I'm going to make a new directory, or a new folder, on my desktop. I'm going to call it Python Bible, which is where I'm going to store all our stuff, so Python Bible. And in there, I'm just going to save this file as meeting idle. Right, so meeting _idle. Now, so this is something very important, okay? Whenever you save a Python script, you must make sure that the file has the .py file extension. Otherwise, the Python just won't know how to run it, okay? Forgetting the .py file extension is a common mistake that beginners make. I mean, it's so easy to forget, right? And it causes all sorts of pillaging, destruction, and ruin. So don't let that happen to you. Whenever you create a new script, just make sure it has that py file extension. You have been warned, okay? So I'm just going to put that right there. So now we have a beautiful, pure, angelic little script. And what you can see on the script toolbar panel, you can see this button here that says Run. If we click on that, you'll see a drop-down, and down here it says Run Module with a keyboard shortcut of F5. What we can do is we can click that, and it's going to run that script. You can see the way that it started here, but nothing happened. Well, that's great. There was nothing in the script, so we didn't expect anything to happen, really. But now the next bit is totally badass. Okay, watch this. If I just pop over back into the script, okay, now what we can do is we can type 1 + 1, exclamation mark, 1 + 1 in here, and save that. Okay, now when I run it, well, nothing happens again. Well, this is another common mistake that can happen when using Python 3. In Python 3, when using scripts, we need to do something to actually print the answer on the screen. And for this, we use the print function. Okay, so in here, instead of just typing 1 + 1, I can type print, open brackets, open parentheses here, and put 1 + 1 inside. And when I run that, save and run it, ta-da! We can see the number 2 pop up on the screen. That's sick, right? But the cool thing about this, the thing that's really cool, is the fact that I can go over here and I can run this as many times as I like, okay? And there's not copying and pasting, there's none of that, okay? It will just run the same thing over and over. But the good thing is as well, you don't just do one-line commands, okay? You can add more than one line. So on here, let's say if I did print, I don't know, 105 + 10, okay? And I save that. Now, when I run it, you can see the way that it first did the command we had before, and then it gave us 115. Well, what that means is it ran the first line to get 2, and then it ran the second line to get 115. So what you can see is happening is it's going from the top, and it's going all the way down. Okay? So you can make scripts as long as you want, and they will run from top to bottom, and they will run the same every single time. It's pretty neat, right? Now, if you've been following along, typing along, then congratulations! You've officially written your very first Python program. This could very well be a great moment to share on social media, get a few likes, get a few retweets. But either way, this is amazing. It was only a few moments ago that you'd actually installed Python, and now you're already set up and have ran your first Python program. Well done. Let's just have a quick recap to see how far you've come. So in this lecture, we introduce you to IDLE, Python's built-in interactive developer environment, or IDE. IDLE is the tool that we will be using to write Python scripts and Python code for the remainder of the course. We then had a quick tour around IDLE, its menus, and we jumped right in and started off typing some Python commands into the Python shell. Just the simple 1 + 1 command, right? Now that was alright, but we noticed it was a bit limiting. It was great for one-off things, but it's a bit of a hassle if you want to repeat things or share your code. So this is where we started using Python scripts. We made a folder and saved a script in it, making sure not to forget the benevolent and glorious .py file extension, without whom the whole Python world would descend into utter chaos. For real, no scam. Then we wrote some commands in the file using the print command and ran it. And Python shell interpreted all of those commands in the order that they're typed and gave the output that we wanted, which in this case was 2 numbers. Remember, when we wanted stuff from scripts to show on the screen when using Python 3, we needed to use the print function. We'll cover the print function later on in the course, but for now just focus on the way scripts work. And awesome! We now have a reusable script. All in all, this is amazing. We've officially written our first Python program, and we're well on our way to becoming great Python programmers. Actually, in the next video, I want to share with you a best kept secret of top programmers, which is going to blow your mind. If you learn this secret, you will save countless hours of time and headache, and programming will be a whole lot more fun. I honestly can't wait to share it with you. So I'll stop here, and I'll see you in the next video.